We started at the cinema, tear of dancing hands in the wind. Restless, rolling up a cigarette, the boys are calling shotgun again. Hot blooded like a harlequin, our heroine is trembling, shaking like a tambourine, colors rolling into her skin. And all the stars awaken to the sound of a firebird under the sky, half naked. Oh, oh. And all the stars awaken to the sound of a firebird under the sky, half naked. Oh, oh, oh,
Well, my piece of advice to the incoming team is to accept yourself and learn with the position. There might be a hall situation or a duty call that catches you off guard, but trust your gut. Trust yourself, be decisive, and forgive yourself because you're doing your best, and doing your best is all the community can ask of you.
Our advice is to be your number one self first. Make sure that you are okay before you help others, because how can you help others if you're not at your best, you know? So, yeah.
And I think, like, to add on to that, don't be afraid to reach out to your peers. There are 44 other RAs here in Mesa. Don't be afraid to ask to do joint programs. It's always like a good way to like lessen the load on yourself also, and just to also bring your residents to meet other people and just make a better community. So joint programs are really, really amazing and really fun. So don't be afraid to reach out to others.
One piece of advice I would give from one RA to another RA is not to let numbers for programs count. I know it can be discouraging knowing that you put a lot of effort into these programs, but honestly, as long as one person is impacted, you've done your job. Don't let numbers affect you. You know, you're doing your job, you're putting in your effort, and your residents will see that. Sometimes commitments come up, and if one person comes out and they enjoy it, you've done your job.
Okay, one piece of advice I would give to a new coming RA is just to be you, stay within your values, know you have support, so make sure you reach out, know you're doing all you can, and if you need to take a break, make sure you take a break so you can be the best for all your residents. Good luck.
So one piece of advice that I would give the incoming RA group would be to just be yourself. I think people will generally gravitate towards you if you're just your authentic self and you don't put on a front to the rest of the world. So just be yourself and everything will be okay.
My advice is to not be too hard on yourself. Your residents are going to come to love you and appreciate the things you do, and it's easy to see your own flaws, but give yourself credit for everything that you do as well.
The advice that I have for a new RA is don't feel discouraged if your residents don't come to any programs, or if they don't come to the programs that you want them to. Just know that they do have other organizations and other events that might conflict with it, but just know that as long as you host them or that you let them know that there's going to be programs, they appreciate that.
I think the biggest piece of advice that I would give an incoming RA is to definitely create a balance between being an RA and being whoever you are, whatever that is. I think the position is very demanding and it requires a lot of time, but you as an individual also deserve to take care of yourself. So you don't have to be in your housing community all the time. You're allowed to take breaks, so take those breaks. Be intentional with what you're doing and don't feel like you're stuck here. If you feel like you need to get out, work with your team, work with the people around you, and learn to take care of yourself the way that you need to.
One piece of advice I'd give to a future RA is to be authentically yourself and to be vulnerable. So I think a lot of times we think that we're just going to be mentors and that we're going to be teaching them everything, but you actually do learn a lot from your residents about yourself and about UCI in general. So I think that as long as you come into it with an open mind and you're ready to learn from your residents, you'll have a great experience.
My best piece of advice is to always remember that the amount of participants or the amount of residents that show up to your hall programs doesn't represent you as an RA and doesn't represent the work you do. As long as they learn something valuable that they can use within or outside of Mesa Court, that's all that matters.
I would say my biggest piece of advice is don't be afraid to ask for help. You're not expected to know everything, and with a team of like 44, someone is gonna know like the answer to your problem or something, so just don't be afraid to ask for help.
Well, I guess my advice for an upcoming RA is to be intentional in the way they interact with the residents, their programs, and overall like their job.
So I guess my piece of advice for people who are now joining the RA team, congratulations, is I think we have a lot of autonomy as RAs, and a lot of people, I feel like when they join the role, they don't know about the influence they have on the community or their hall or on specific individuals, but there's a lot of power in the things that we say and the things that we leave behind, whether it be like leaving the eatery or leaving our hall. I think one of my favorite memories is like saying goodbye to my residents whenever they go off, because I'm always like, have fun, be safe, and then now they always say have fun and be safe whenever I leave the hall, and I think that's something that will always warm my heart. So just be mindful of like the power you have in the roles that you play here at UCI, and I mean just as an RA. But yeah, you have a lot of influence on the community, so always be your best self and do your best and take care of yourself, and I'm sure that you'll just do wonderful.
So my favorite memory as an RA would have to be move-in. There's nothing like the feeling of getting to meet your residents for the first time and then getting to meet each other, getting a feel of the space. And there's just so much excitement and new possibilities and just so much potential for what's gonna happen for the year that there's just really, every time I think about move-in, it's just a happy feeling.
My favorite memory as an RA was 2 years ago. I had had a really rough day and I had just like failed a midterm. What's new? And I come up to the second floor and I have this giant group of residents at like 9 p.m. at night mapping out a new UC. They called it University of California City, and it was gonna take place in Nevada. And until 3 a.m. we all stayed up talking about what UCC would be. And they just reminded me that although college is hard and although all this like stuff sucks sometimes, having residents lets you just relax and stay up absurdly late talking about UCC. Have fun.
My favorite memory as an RA is when my residents and I start singing together. So we have lots of karaoke nights, and when everyone pitches in for Bohemian Rhapsody, it just sounds really, really good. We're practically Queen reincarnated.
So one of my favorite memories with my hall was that I was studying in the kitchen alone, and then they all like randomly started trickling in at 3 in the morning, and then they noticed that I was really stressed and everything, and so they gave me like a group hug and started singing all together, and that made me realize that your residents are really like the most genuine people that you meet, and you don't have to be scared about your emotions or anything. They'll rely on you, and but they'll love you no matter what. So yeah, that's one of my favorite memories.
So my favorite hall program, it was kind of like an unexpected hall program, was when I did a photo project on community, and it was really nice because my hall ended up being the ones to help in this project. It ended up being like a series of portraits and just them sharing like a lot of like who they are as a person, how they came to be the person that they are from their upbringings and their struggles, and it was really nice and intimate in getting to know them.
My favorite program by far was Open Mic Night that I had last quarter. The reason why I like that program so much is because I saw some residents who maybe like didn't speak up that much or were introverted. After I started getting on the mic and like rapping sim songs to Drake, they got up as well, and sooner or later, 3 hours into the program, 5 or 6 residents were up there and they were just screaming K-pop at the top of their lungs. So that was the highlight of my night, and I would say by far that was my favorite program.
My favorite program was my smoothie bike program, which I did during fall quarter. I collaborated with the Sustainability's office and brought a smoothie bike, and my residents got to pedal and make smoothies. And they also learned about how to physically exercise and eat well in college.
So my favorite hall program was the self-care night that I had for my residents. I like to have one each quarter around midterm season, and it's just really nice seeing my residents come out to the self-care night, even though they have midterms going on and different activities, but they're taking time to be there. And I remember us putting on face masks and drinking hot tea and just having a good time. And I feel like this was my favorite program because of the significance it has, because taking time to take care of yourself is one of the most important things in college.
My favorite program was when my entire hall played assassin, and every time they killed someone they had to learn their fun fact.
Something I want to share with you is like one of my favorite memories that ties in with my hall program. I totally did this like all last minute, but it was my favorite Wine Wednesday, and I decided to do it during the end of their midterm seasons, which was really helpful because all of them got the chance to just mingle, complain, or just talk about their midterms or how it went or how they felt about it. And then after, we just got the chance to play games, and I feel like that was one of the best memories. It was a very simple program, and it was honestly like something that was really great to just witness and be part of.
Okay, my favorite program is always painting programs, and I try to do a painting program at least once a quarter because I find that I'll get a lot of residents who come out and who show interest. And I feel like the reason it's my favorite is a lot of people are really creative and they want to express themselves, but a lot of times, especially in college, they don't have the time or the opportunity. And so having a painting program allows them to really do like a self-care / self-expression. And it's always amazing to see how artistic people are. Even if they're not super artistic, they just like to have the opportunity to kind of let loose on a canvas. And at the end, when we're all sharing and we like put them around the hall, it's just a really nice feeling to walk around and see your artwork like posted for everyone to see.
So one of my favorite programs that I had this year was an In-N-Out run, where I took all of my residents to In-N-Out the very first week of school, and then we ended up sharing a meal together, and then after that we went to the park up until 3 a.m. to play games. So that was one of my favorites because it was one of the first times when my residents felt comfortable opening up and like being vulnerable to one another.
Hi everyone. I'd say that my favorite program as an RA would probably be my hall welcoming program. So something about me is this year my hall decorative theme was Gudetama. Gudetama is this little lazy egg, and what I did was I had a big hall poster that had Paulo on it, and I put a whole bunch of like painted orange, yellowish, like egg yolky dots, and then what I did for them was I gave them half an eggshell. I wanted them to put what they wanted to get out of the year, what they wanted from me, and just their dreams and aspirations. And afterward, I was able to talk with all of them, and it was a great way to start our year.
So my favorite hall program was going to the pumpkin patch with my residents. We did like a pumpkin patch photo shoot, and all of us like mobbed over to the pumpkin patch, and we just had a really good time. We had all of our residents have their iPhone XS's and their cameras, and we just hung out, and it was a really beautiful experience, and I really enjoyed seeing them on Instagram the next day.
What it means to thrive and connect is to basically be the best version of yourself when you come in to when you finish the year. And that can mean different things for everybody, but for you personally, set goals for yourself, and in order to achieve those goals, that's you thriving, and connecting is just simple. It's connecting with residents, connecting with your RA team, connecting with yourself, but it's really up to what you determine that thrive and connect to be.
The best way to create places to thrive and connect is to build those one-on-one relationships with your residents, and then that gives them a really strong foundation for building relationships with one another and creating a really strong community.
So I think to thrive and connect means to be your best self and just be really confident in yourself, because you were chosen to be here and chosen to be a leader in this community for a reason, and you bring something special to this team and you mean something special to your residents. So always believe in yourself and put your best foot forward.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Mesa family and congrats. My advice to you all is, even though it can be hard, try to remember not to compare yourself to others. You all have beautiful and unique capabilities and you're here for a reason. And as she said, is just try your best, and that's all that matters. And imposter syndrome is definitely real, but just try your best and you all got this. And we're all very excited to see you all thrive and connect.
To add on to that, just a little bit about thriving and connecting. To me and to all of us, thriving means to be your best self. It means to be passionate and stay true to yourself and what you value. It also means to be able to make mistakes, right, and learn from them and grow as a person. That will help you propel forward and thrive. And then connecting to us means to get to know the staff and the community on a personal level. It means reaching out for help and asking for advice. It's okay to make mistakes, like I said. But yeah, we're really excited for you to all be here, and we want you to know that all of us as a staff here in Mesa Corps, we're here for you. We're here to answer any questions, anything at all. We're super excited for you to come into our community, and yeah, zad, zad, zad. Hey.